Hey folks, Dwayne from Grandpa's Garage, the little garage that could. We're trying something new out today. I picked up a microphone setup for my phone, and hopefully it'll give us better sound for the recordings or the videos, and you can hear me better, which could be a blessing and a curse, I guess. But anyways, I started working on tacking the excuse me, the lower door skin on this door for the terraplane. Um, Very critical when you're doing this kind of thing is to take your time. Don't rush it. Um, it impacts how much um, warpage you will get in there. You'll always get some kind of warping. Um, so typically what I do is I start and I'll do the what I call my four finger technique is I'll start a tack, say at the one side or another. It doesn't matter which one you start at, but you work from one side to the other. Do not start from both ends and come to the middle because then you're definitely going to get a warp. What I use is my four finger technique. So I'll put a tack, I'll put just as a rough guide, four fingers. That'll be my next tack. Then another four fingers and the next tack. And do that across the panel. Once you've done one pass with your tacks, do not go back and start welding again. Give this thing a chance to cool down. It's I don't know what your temperature is like in your shop. My shop tends to be, it's a little bit cooler because when you're working it gets too warm otherwise. But also then your metal that you're working on is a little cooler as well. And now you're introducing heat. So if you introduce too much heat, then it's just going to warp on you. So you can see that I'm just doing little tiny tacks. They're just like literally a quick shot. And you say I do the four finger technique, come back, and from where my say the second tack is, you can put your four fingers. So you're going, I don't know, I guess a rule of thumb might be to go attack in the middle. And then, of course, then the next one is going to be offset, the four fingers again. And you're not doing tacks like these ones are right now, fairly close together, but that's just because I've been working away at it. And again, after every pass, I let it cool down. It's not as tiring to do so much welding then that way. You get up and have a cup of coffee or whatever, and yeah, then your panel stays very decently straight. There will be a little bit of bumping that'll be required in order to, or planishing, I guess you can call it, to bring that edge, because it will tend to drop a little bit, and depending on how nice you want to get that, if your warpage is at a minimum, sometimes it's not even worth it to try and bang it back out. Unfortunately, like I've got a MIG welder, and the welds are harder. So what happens is once you ground them and you try and tap from the backside, you got to be very careful, because if you tap too hard, it can crack the weld, and you may not even see the crack, but it'll show up when it's all body worked and that sort of thing. So better just take your time and yeah, just take your time, let it cool down. It's not a race here. So, and in particular for my project. So I'm going to carry on with a few more tack welds here, and then we'll let things cool down again. And yeah. Sorry for the squeaky chair. I should probably oil it, I guess. The other thing I usually like to do is just snip the end of your wire before you start. You don't really have to, but I just do it. I don't know why I do it. There you go. Another funny thing that I have to be very much aware of all the time is I have a habit of putting my welder down, and not uncommon for me to set it down on the trigger and wonder why it's running still. But anyways, let's see where we're at time wise. It's not been very long, but anyways, so you can feel if you take your glove off, and of course don't do the lost welds that you just finished. You go back to the start where you start doing tacks and feel the metal. And what you'll find is they might feel cool to the touch, but if you pay attention to the temperature of the whole panel, what I like to do, you can feel that actually where the tacks are, it's warmer. So that means that it's still too warm to be going back and putting your next set of tacks in. So you know what? I like to just grab my mug and have a little zip, and yeah, just take time, no rush. I don't know. Everybody's got their own way of approaching this. I just found that for me, this is what works quite well. It's not the perfect setup. I guess perfect would be if you wanted to use TIG and could weld very well with TIG, but this is what I've got, so I make use of what I got. So this coming week, I want to try and wrap some stuff up on the coupe, because for those of you that aren't aware, I've been invited to bring my truck, my 1950 Chev truck, which is it's a mild custom. and been invited to attend the World of Wheels in Winnipeg, Manitoba. So I'm pretty excited about that. But what it means is I need to take the coupe out of here so I can bring the truck in and prep it for taking to the World of Wheels. A lot of stuff to shift around. I've got in the front of my garage, I've got one of those portable shelters. And of course, when you're working in here, I offload into there, and it gets piled up pretty good sometimes. But that's okay. The other thing, actually, that I was going to mention is in the center of the door here, there's a little spot. I got to spend a little bit more time on it. But initially, there was a pretty significant dent in there. One of the things you want to do before you get too heavy into your welding is if there's any kind of dents or that, or buckles in your panel, get them worked out, because once the panel's welded in there, whatever it is going to be very difficult to repair and straighten out and get it nice. It's not impossible, but it's just a lot more work, where you spend a little bit of time before you do your welding, and it's easier to do. That's all. So it's save yourself some headache and grief. Just carry on with getting that all straightened out, and then on with the welding. And speaking of which, one more zip, then back to welding. All right, here we go, folks. cool down. There's not, when you approach your welds like this, you're not putting a ton of heat, and you don't really want to put a ton of heat, especially on a thinner panel like this. Different if you're welding, you know, some 1/4 inch plate or whatever, but even that can move on you as well. But it's a lot less likely to move on you than this stuff, because it's thin sheet metal. It's prone to warping more. So take whatever steps you can to safeguard against that, I guess. But yeah, just taking time. But you know, the nice thing with this is that this whole panel now is coming out, and there'll be very little distortion when I'm done. The other thing is, when you're grinding your welds as well, approach it more or less the same way as you do with the welds. You know, the 4-finger or 3-finger, depending on how fat your fingers are, technique, just to step along, because you're going to have to do all the welds anyways, and you're going to have to grind all the welds. So to step it like that, again, do a pass, check the panel. If it's warm at all, let it cool down. Let it cool down. It's pretty critical. I know back when I first started doing this kind of stuff, and I didn't understand that concept. And I went to weld a lower section on a door panel. Well, it ended up I had some real work to try and get it back, and I was not able to actually get it back because it just distorted too much. And so it ended up, it got a pretty good layer of filler on there. Not one of my finer achievements for sure, but you know, that's learning process, and that was many years ago when I was a lot younger, and the vehicle was a rusty old truck, and it didn't really matter, but it was just more the practicing and learning, right? So, but anyways, let's see how we're doing here. Oh, we're coming along real nice. So I'm just gonna give it a little bit more, but it's getting pretty good now. Like I've got, there's spots in between each of the welds now, but it's getting down. It's more like a 1/4 inch gap now, as opposed to 1/2 inch or whatever. You know, as you work along, you got your 4 fingers, and then you got 2 fingers, and then you got 1 finger, and eventually it gets it down. But it's a slower, tedious process, but that's okay. This is the sort of thing that I enjoy. So now looking forward to getting things ready to set up for the World of Wheels. I'll have to see if we're going to be able to do it. It's a lot of preparation, in particular because we don't live in Winnipeg. Yeah, it's there's a lot more considerations, like getting a trailer to haul the truck there, and then what do you do with the trailer for the weekend while you're still in the city? So yeah, some arrangements will have to be made, and we'll see what we can do. But let's check our panel again. Our panel is good. All right. I think something that I'm going to have to be addressing this summer is I got to do something with my concrete floor because it's cracked and bumpy, and yeah, it's kind of frustrating a lot of times if you're trying to wheel across with a chair or floor jack or whatever. What did it? Yeah, and another job, just what I needed. All right, we're doing good. Time to let it cool down again. So, um, as you can see, it's a pretty slow process. So rather than have you follow along on it, it's get a little monotonous. My last couple of videos were fairly long, so I want to make a little bit shorter one this time. But so I'm gonna continue with this, but I'm gonna stop the video, and I want to thank you all for continuing to watch and for all your support. If you can like, share, and subscribe to my channel. Also check out my posts on my channel. I started doing a few posts on there with some pictures and just a little ditty on what the pictures are. First one, of course, is my Chevy truck, and then, of course, like my wife's Volkswagen and a motorcycle that I worked on. I've worked on a number of different vehicles over the many years, and I'm hoping to continue doing that with pictures and just a little ditty. Like, it's literally about a 10-second read for some people, uh, 30 seconds for me. But anyways, I hope that you got some good information out of this video, And again, I want to thank you for your support. This is Dwayne from Grandpa's Garage, the little garage that good. Goodbye.